It's Morgan here with Hailey Whitters, and we are here with Impossible Foods. Hailey, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And we're at the iconic Bluebird, which is so fabulous.
Yes.
I'm assuming you've performed here. You've had to.
Yeah, a few times. Yeah. I remember like first rolling into town though and waiting for the open mic night to get the little piece of paper. I don't think I got to play that night, but you know, a few years later I got to come back.
Wow. Okay, so was that when you were invited back then?
Well, it was like back then. I don't know if they still do it, but you'd come to the open mic night and there would be a lot of people who are trying to play, you know, get the opportunity to play. And everyone kind of got like a piece of paper or coin or something. It was like a stamp. And if you didn't get to play, you got that. And it kind of meant when you came back, you got to go to the top of the line.
Okay.
And I still have my piece of paper. I don't know why I never came back. It must have just been like a juju thing for me or something. But I got to come back and play when I was invited as a writer like several years later. And yeah, it's special. It feels good to be back in here.
Have you had a lot of those moments in your career where you're feeling like something was so impossible and you're like, okay, I hope for this to happen, and then it comes true in a way?
How much time you got? I feel like my whole career has been just a little bit and, you know, step forward, 2 steps back, and then just years and years of grinding and hustling and getting to see just some really incredible things come true.
Okay, what have been your favorite things that have come true maybe in the last 5 years?
Favorite things. Okay, well, a lot's changed for me in the last 5 years. I mean, getting to play the Grand Ole Opry was really huge for me. I got an Alan Jackson cut. Oh, that was really nuts.
Because he's a big influence for you.
Huge influence for me. Like, I grew up a country radio kid in the middle of nowhere, Midwest. And I still remember, like, the first time Remember When came on the radio. And it just kind of stopped me in my tracks, you know. And it felt impossible to get to do that one day. And then to, like, come to town and to, you know, one day get a phone call that he recorded a song of mine was just absolutely surreal. That was a pretty big one. Man, I think being nominated for a Grammy, that was one of those that it's like, you don't even throw that out there because you know it ain't going to happen, you know? And that was a pretty big deal getting to have that.
When you got that phone call, were you like, is somebody pranking me? Is this real?
Absolutely. Yeah, it did. I don't even think it felt real, like, being there, you know what I mean, like being in the seats with the writers that I was all nominated with. Like, it was one of those things that it just felt so cool to even be in the hat, you know, that we had a blast that weekend. Yeah.
And you mentioned growing up in the Midwest. You're from Iowa.
Yeah.
And you've kind of made the Midwest part of your identity.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people, when they move to town, feel like they have to change. They have to do this kind of different thing to find what's going to work for them.
Yeah.
And you decided, I'm going to become a corn queen.
Yeah.
And this is going to be my whole identity. Why? What was the thought process behind all of that?
Well, I definitely think, like, you know, I definitely felt like a fish out of water when I first moved here because I did grow up very country, and the bro country thing was happening when I first got here. I was like, whoa, like, I have no business in bro country. So I've always just, you know, really felt like I gotta just stick to my roots, stick to who I am, and just wait it out, you know. But I think just, you know, I started getting, I remember, like, everyone always says Nashville's a 10-year town, and I was hitting year 10, 11, 12, and, you know, I was still waiting tables, like, trying to make things happen. And it was the first time I kind of looked up and I was like, this may not happen for you. And I was starting to get really homesick. You know, all my friends back home, they're on baby 2, baby 3, bought the house, buying the boat, and I'm still, you know, super broke. And I just started writing a lot about where I was from. And, you know, it just kind of snowballed, I guess. I put out a record called Raised and had a big hit on it, Everything She Ain't. And, you know, it kind of turned a lot of people on to me. And my fans started calling me the Corn Queen, which I thought was just kind of a really silly oxymoron because, you know, I'm pulling graveyard shifts in a van, putting bags under my eyes, sleeping on airport floors. There was nothing royal about my life at that point. But I think that's kind of what I learned makes a queen to me is like somebody who works really hard and, rolls up their sleeves and keeps their head up when things get tough, and someone who it hasn't just been handed to, someone who's had to work really hard. Like, that makes me proud. And those are the queens that I kind of admire. So I guess it's just kind of happened. I'm just very Iowa, very Midwestern. It just kind of oozes out of me.
Speaking of Iowa, I had just visited there for the first time.
Yeah.
It was one of the states that I needed to cross off my list.
Yeah.
You guys have beautiful views, and I don't know if you guys have been gatekeeping that forever.
Okay, we're trying to keep it on the DL because I know it's kind of nuts. Like, Iowa's kind of having a little moment. I think the Midwest is just kind of having a moment. You see someone like Caitlin Clark, who I think grew up in Western Iowa. It's like for so long we've always just kind of been the flyover states, but there's so many like amazing little things about growing up that way, and very simple. And we like to keep it on the DL though. We don't want everyone going over there.
Hey, well, I'm a big fan of Iowa. I loved my time there. And you talk about being genuine too. You were talking about how like you kind of stayed to your roots. Has that made some things feel impossible in your career where you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I really want to stay true to me.
Yeah.
But it'd be really easy if I just say, let's try this other thing and it'll probably work better than what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I had those moments, where it was like, this is not working. I've been here a really long time. I'm going to try and do what everyone else is doing, what's working. And it was just like that instant, nope, I can't do that, because I remember sitting in meetings and I actually recorded a bunch of music that was kind of me trying that, trying to be like, I guess, the radio at the time. And I remember sitting in my first meeting, like playing it for people. And, they're like, this is awesome. And my gut is like, no, it's not. It's not awesome. This is not who I am. I cannot do this. And I scrapped the project and
it was
started
a whole
over.
Album?
Yeah, it was probably like 8 songs. And I started over and I dropped the next record. I was a completely independent artist, waiting tables, and I saved up all my money and made a record with me, and my producer was Jake Gear. Both of us no-name producers. And the first song we dropped after that project was 10-Year Town, which is like a very honest song about just kind of being in Nashville. And that's a song that just turned my world around night and day. And so I think that was a moment for me where it was like, you've just got to be true to who you are, and let that take you where it does.
Well, and you're the one who has to go and perform the songs.
Yeah.
So if they don't feel right when you're sitting there trying to pitch them, it's like,
yep.
What am I going to do when I have to actually perform them?
For real, I am not a sales gal. I cannot sell something I do not believe in.
So is also, I'm looking at how you're dressed right now too. Is yellow your favorite color? Because is that also a corn thing
right now? Yeah, I guess probably. Okay. Like Iowa is very yellow to me, like the cornfields and all of that. I did just put out a record called Corn Queen. And the cover is me sculpted in butter.
I did see this.
So butter yellow is kind of my color this year, I guess. We're just like going for it. So yeah, I wear a lot of yellow.
Are you ever worried that you look back and you're like, I don't want to be Corn Queen anymore, so how do I get rid of that? Or are you just going to own it forever?
We're probably going to kill the Corn Queen with the next record, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of fun. I'm honored to do that. I feel like, growing up in small town Iowa, there wasn't a whole lot of a music scene. Mm-hmm. I didn't really have a blueprint or anyone to kind of like help walk me through what it would mean to get to Nashville and to get to do this. And so I am very proud to like be the Corn Queen and kind of put Midwest on the map a little bit in country music.
Hey, I'm also from Kansas, so I'm all about you bringing the Midwest
there
to this.
We go, yeah.
And speaking of Midwest, you do a lot of work with Nicole Gallion and Songs and Daughters.
Yep.
What's that connection for you and getting to work with other women in the industry who maybe have experienced a lot of the things that you're experiencing now and will experience?
Yeah. It was like an instant connect, like just the first time I ever wrote with Nicole, because she knew the business and also like she knew where I come from, and so that was just like kindred spirits right off the bat. Felt so safe and so comfortable just like talking about all of it. It really means a lot, because I think as women in this business, like there are a lot of really impossible feats that we kind of have up against us. And so to have like other women kind of, you know, big sistering you along the way, like that's really important.
Oh yeah, and she's a great big sister too. I know that feeling. And impossible. Yeah. I want you to share an impossible bucket list. You can do like a top 3.
So something that hasn't happened.
And you're like, maybe it's never going to happen.
Okay.
And it can be, you can shoot for the stars in this. We're just making kind of a career impossible bucket list.
Okay. I want to like sing with Dolly Parton.
Oh, I love that, and I could see this.
I love her so much.
Would you want to do a new song with her, or would you just want to collaborate on one of the songs she already has?
I will take anything.
Okay.
Man, I want to like headline the Ryman Auditorium as a kind of Nashvilleian. Like that's just like a big deal for me. I want to do that someday. And I want to win a Grammy, man.
I love this. You've really started like a lot of these impossible items because you have done your own shows.
Yeah.
And you've been nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah.
And you've done collaborations. Yeah. So you're like halfway on all of these.
There we go. I like that.
That's what we're going to believe. And we're just going to put that energy in.
Yes, please.
Speaking of the collaborations and stuff that you've done, I know you did one with Ben Rector.
Yeah.
And you've had some others. Like, how do you set up a collaboration if you were going to go after Dolly Parton to do a collaboration, how are you going to go about that?
Shoot, the Dolly one. I don't even know. Like,
I do believe hers come through faxes still. I don't think she uses phones.
Really?
I still don't know if this is a rumor or not, but the belief is that she only communicates through fax.
That is amazing.
So
that's hilarious. I don't know how that one will happen. We are going to have to just like pray for the best there. Man, the rest of the collabs, they all kind of have happened pretty organically, which is nice. The Ben Rector one, he actually, it was like, I guess the person that he wrote the song with, I ran into them on Music Row once, and they were like, hey, actually, Ben Rector and we just wrote the other day, and he was wanting you to feature on this song. Do you want to hear it? And so he just played it for me, and I was like, yeah, that's great. I would love to do that. And so that just kind of happened like real organically. Ben says they wrote it and like had me in mind for that, you know, which is really cool. Like to know that someone is kind of thinking of you when they're writing something. You know, the rest, it's just kind of like bucket list things.
Yeah.
You know, I just had a collab come out with Trisha Yearwood, and like that, she to me was just at the top of the list. You know, when I was growing up in small town Iowa, She's in Love with the Boy was like my go-to, you know, hairbrush microphone, make everyone sit down and listen to me perform. And to get to like have that moment with her, that's pretty incredible. And that was just like a total Hail Mary, like, let's ask. And, you know, Stacy, who's over there, actually made that ask. And it was just kind of like, that ain't going to happen. And
so you had a song that you're like, I feel like Trisha would be awesome on this.
Yeah.
You guys reach out.
Yeah.
Thinking, okay, there's no way.
Yeah.
She calls back?
Yeah. I guess she called back and she was like, I'm down. And I remember I was in the kitchen. My producer was sitting right next to me, jumped up and down, screaming, called everyone in my phone. You won't believe who is going to sing on a song with me. It was nuts. Yeah.
And what was it like? Did you guys get to record together, or did you record separately? I know that's kind of different now.
Yeah. So at the time we recorded separately because it was COVID. But we got to do something recently where we got to sing together, and she's so cool. She's a Virgo. I'm a Virgo. Like, we connected pretty instantly. And, you know, they say like, don't meet your heroes, but she's one that you should definitely meet over and over again, because she is just very cool.
Oh, that's so good. And also, you were talking about how you were like made everybody sit down and listen to you sing.
Yeah.
And I've been realizing, thanks to social media, that like I've never had a unique experience.
Yeah.
And you just reminded me of that, because I used to like force my whole family to sit down. I'm not a singer, mind you. You had good reason to do what you were doing. I did not. Oh. And I'd put all like my stuffed animals. I'd invite the whole family, and I'd be like, hey, I'm putting on a show.
Yeah.
And that was my entertainment as a kid.
Yeah.
So did you do that a lot, like with your family? And did you do things like out in public when you were performing, like, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. I mean, I was like really shy as a kid growing up. So it's kind of funny. I used to, you know, for a long time, I didn't let anyone hear me sing. I would just sit on the back of you know, the tractor and sing where the engine was loud enough. It was kind of drowning me out, you know. And then I remember someone in my family kind of heard me one day and was like, you have a good voice, you should sing. And then that kind of was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll sing some, you know. And just little by little, I started writing songs, and I booked my first gig. It was at a small town bar in our town, and you know, the whole family packed it out, and everyone in the town packed it out, and that kind of gave me the confidence to keep going. But that's probably pre-social media days for you and me. You know, like 90s kids, we didn't have our phones to look at, so we had to make our own shows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so you're sitting here, and that's crazy that you're now performing on massive stages.
Yeah.
When you didn't even want to be on a stage to begin with.
I know. Yeah, I was very shy. I don't
believe that now. Did you just kind of blossom as you kind of fell into this career and started really going after it, that your confidence started to build and build over the course of time?
Probably by error, like trial by error, because I just like, you know, I have this rule where it's like, if it scares you, you have to do it. And so, you know, I'm always like, please don't let it scare you, you know, because then it's like, I have to do it. And I think that always has helped me like build confidence along the way. But yeah, I was very shy as a kid, and you know, I've been in this town long enough. I think that's kind of gone away. I still get nervous though.
And what about like for your other moments? Because you're also, it's so funny. I look at artists and they're doing all this grind and they're putting themselves out there all the time. But like personally, like what's that like for you? Because you're also trying to just be a normal human at the same time. Yeah. Where you're like, I want to succeed and I want to be this big star and I want people to know me and my music. But also like, I want to hang out with my friends, and I need to date, or I need to like make time for my family. Yeah. How do you balance all of that?
Shoot, I don't really know the secret to that. I mean, I still like, I am so unused to people recognizing me in public. Like when I go out to run errands, I look like a crazy woman, you know, and it always like catches me a little off guard. If someone sees me, I'm just like, oh shoot, you are not supposed to see me out right now. But I don't know. I mean, I really do try and go back home because that grounds me a lot. My family, I come from a big old, you know, family, and they are never afraid to put me in my place and let me know when I'm getting too big for my britches.
That's a very Midwest family for you.
Yep. They will humble you quick. Yeah, but I don't know. I really just try and be as normal as possible, you know, like all the hype, it kind of just, you know, it gets a little too crazy for me sometimes.
Yeah, I totally get that. Okay, I have these fun impossible foods questions for you. Yeah. If you could go back 10 years, would you do anything different? Any decisions you would make that you might change 10 years ago?
Man, I think that I would put on blinders and just like really just focus on what I was doing, you know? And I think that that's like another thing about kind of being in this town, is it's really easy to start looking around at what everyone else is doing or what is perceived to be the like thing or not, you know? And I think that I wish I would have just like really put those blinders on a lot earlier than I did.
That's a good question. It's also hard, right? You see all the things and everything looks shiny and fun, and you're like, let me try these different things, when in reality, like your body's trying to be like, hey, no, let's just stay our path and do our thing. But bright and shiny is always fun to go after. It's like a little kid. Yep. You want the diamond. If you could have been in any group, which one would you be in? Because I think of, you know, NSYNC or Spice Girls. I loved the 90s era. Yeah. I would totally be in one of those. Which one would you be in?
The Chicks, all the way.
Yes.
I'm a country gal.
Through and through. Would you have been a particular band member in the Chicks?
You know, I actually wrote a paper when I was in school that I think I was the fourth Dixie chick in it. And it was like they were coming to perform in my town, and they called me, and I like went and performed or whatever and got to be the fourth member.
That's so funny. Yeah. That's the thing you're manifesting, and that could still totally happen.
Maybe that's my impossible thing.
Becoming part of the Chicks.
Yes.
I think of Sugarland too. That's the other one. I love Sugarland.
The Wreckers. I loved the Wreckers too.
Yes. Oh,
they were really great.
They came back and did a show with Raging Idiots for St. Jude. And it was so cool to watch them come back after, 15, 20 years for the first time. They crushed that. Yeah. What is something you think in 10 years you'll be proud to say you were able to accomplish?
It might sound a little basic, but just this, you know, like I just am very surprised still to this day that when I think back on that little girl in Iowa, that she actually got out there and did what she's done, you know, and I think that in 10 years from now, I think I'm just going to be even more impressed and also just like really glad that I did, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're like, okay, I'm going to look back 10 years. Was I living in the moment? Was this all happening?
Yes.
In the ways that it was supposed to happen?
Yeah.
And it's fun to look back on your life and really relive those memories.
Yeah.
But it's also crazy to think, okay, where could I be in 10 years?
Yeah.
And your life could look completely different.
It is wild. Yeah.
Oh, well, Hailey, thanks for sitting down.
Thanks for having me.
Talking with us. It was fun to have you.
Thank you.
It's a Bobby Bones show.